All right, y'all. Welcome back to Street Connects TV. Today we're here joined by my guest Chris J. What's good, my boy? How you living?
Cooler, man. How you doing?
Doing good, my boy. So first question is, where you from?
From Brooklyn, New York, Brownsville specifically. You feel me? And I've been there about all my life, type shit.
Where? So I was growing up in Brownsville.
It was calm, you know what I'm saying? Like it was like good and bad, but it was mostly good. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a fair share of bullshit because it's Brooklyn, and that's really how it was back then. Like around when I was growing up, like '06 to like 2010, but all in all, it was really good. You know what I'm saying? I was close to family, had my mom's there, my cousins and everything. So it was real tight knit, and that was back when when niggas was younger. Like everybody on the block knew each other and shit. It was block parties and everything. Everybody kids knew everybody kids, and the parents would get along and shit. And shit was fire. You know what I'm saying? So it was pretty good foundation.
Where so like the close feeling of family was always important to you growing up.
Hell yeah.
Where and then it's just like I feel like that's a unique thing about in New York. Like there's so much people that always live on every block. It's like the block ends up becoming like a bigger family for everyone. So that like would you say that also like played a role in your music?
Yeah, yeah, like the sense of community, and especially like when I was growing up and shit, like I would notice that sense of community would like leave like every year as I would get older because things change, people move, people die, shit just goes on. So it's like the cozy feeling, the feeling of home. It's like it's kind of faint, especially when you start to venture out and go to different parts of Brooklyn, and it's like what I'm saying. It's like things become more unfamiliar in a place where you thought it would stay the same forever, and it definitely shaped how I create my stuff.
For sure. Now, the style of Brooklyn and like the Brooklyn sound in general, has that also played like '90s New York hip hop? Has that also played a role in developing your sound?
Definitely, definitely. I feel like all of New York hip hop, like from like the golden age, as people would call it, to like right now. I feel like as things changed and as like the trend in sound, like as that like shifted, I feel like I've always made it my business to like shift with it, and not in terms of following it, but to like be like ever changing as like the New York scene is, because it changed a lot. You know what I'm saying? And that change in New York would influence change in music outside of New York and everything. So I would always like strive to be like that. Like let me see how I could change my sound, and let me see how I can evolve my sound and somehow influence other people to do the same thing from where I'm at. And I always wanted to do that with my music. So I feel like yeah, it definitely influenced that.
Copy now. What was it that got you to start making music?
Honestly, just listening to like a lot of it. Like when I was younger, my pops had not as many records as I do now, but he had a sizable amount of records. So I would just go through the crates, and it was like this little turntable hooked up to some speakers, and it would be like Michael Jackson records and Stevie Wonder records and Prince and like everything. And I would just listen to that, and I would just love the way like the music would make me feel. It would be something that would call me back to a time where I wouldn't even know how I could pull from that because I was young. But it's like this feeling is familiar somehow, and it's like the music is so good. It helps me relate in a way. You know what I'm saying? It resonates within me in a way. So it's like when I was younger, I was driven to do, or I was driven to want to do like the same thing, have that same effect with my music, and I would just like experiment with it from when I was young, like with it, like instruments and like even like before like working digitally with music. It would just be like a lot of trying things out because I felt like that's what like you needed to do to make something like substantial.
For sure. Now, going back to how you said your dad had a lot of music growing up, what was the like who and what did you listen to growing up?
Growing up, I would listen to, honestly, it would be like a multitude of things. It would be from like Al Green to Michael Jackson to Kanye, all the way to Biggie, Redman, Method Man. And I would go to Mary J and Missy and Aaliyah and all of them. Like it would just be going all over. And it really drove me to appreciate like all music, like music as a whole. Like I would just appreciate everything because I would listen to everything, you know what I'm saying, from the slow jams to the hard shit. It would just always be a constant influx of like sound, you know what I'm saying?
Where it was just allowing you to keep an open mind with music and appreciate all different types of sounds instead of one specific genre.
Yeah.
Got it. Personally speaking, how would you describe your sound?
I don't know. I've been trying to find like an umbrella term for like my sound and shit, and it's been kind of hard because it's like I won't say I have like the widest variety because that would just be impossible from where I'm at now, but I will say that I have like a multitude of things that I'm going for. So I guess like ambitious, I guess.
Ambitious.
Yeah, because I'm like, I feel like I'm not afraid to try shit. And I feel like I've definitely been like breaking out of my shell more when it comes to like experimenting with different things. Like I'm not the type to like tuck my tail when I'm trying some new shit now. Like I'm really like trying to be out about it because it's like it's supposed to be something I'm proud of. Like I'm going this direction with it, and it's like it's off of my merit. Like I want to do that. So like I'm definitely like, yeah, ambitious with it.
You do both producing and rapping, so I want to know what were you doing first?
First, I will say that I was rapping before I was producing. Like, when I was younger, I would rap along to like all of the Kanye and all of the Hove songs and shit, like Biggie, all of the time, just because like that's what would be playing in the radio. My pops would drive me places and shit, and it's like it would definitely it was something that I was always interested in because it's like the way that they would use their words to like move people. It was always something that I wanted to do. So it's like if I could emulate that, it could later on translate to like me making my own shit. And it's like the more I did it, it's like the more I became interested in it. And producing came like a little bit after that. Yeah. So rapping. I was doing rapping first.
Copying. What was it that helped you like kind of translate your talents to production as well?
Honestly, just paying attention to like the beats and what made them so good and like paying attention to how like certain beats accentuate a rapper's voice or accentuate like a singer's vocal, like certain things like that. Like I would pay attention to shit like that. Like is it a sample? Like is it like keys or something else? And it was very like basic back then in my thought because I didn't really know all the terminology for it. So I would just be like, oh, okay, these keys sound good or these drums sound good. But that like it helps a lot because it's like you're thinking about it and you're like kind of making it so you're able to reverse engineer that type of shit. And I would start out remaking beats that I would like, you know what I'm saying? Like I was remaking like old Kanye beats and shit, just because it's like this shit is hard, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, let me just like remake this shit and be like, you know, like what makes this work so good, and let me see how I could apply that to like my own shit. So it would just be a lot of that.
It sounds like you being a fan of music kind of sparked your interest because being a fan of music, you wanted to learn the depths of how each individual detail works with every instrument and every like different possible sound you could make. So I feel like would that be true to say that like your obsession with music in a sense is what drove you to want to get more dive a little deeper into it with
Hell yeah.
production?
Hell yeah, because it's like the love for music, bro. Like you can't be a good artist without having a love for music, bro. Like even if it's just one genre that you love, like if you don't have the love for that one genre, if it's not that one thing that you could turn on at any time and it's like, oh yeah, I could tell like this is what I like from this. Like I feel like it's no way that you could be like a legitimate artist without like, you know what I'm saying, having a true love for it, because it's gonna make you want to do more. It's gonna make you want to like know more about it. So it's like that shit like just drives me all the way, just the love for it.
Who are your top five favorite producers of all time?
Top five favorite producers all time. Shit. Alright. In no particular order, I would say, damn, I gotta think about this. Alright, but no particular order, I would say, hmm, Alchemist, Knowledge, Dr. Dre. Hmm. Damn, I need two more. Alchemist, Knowledge, Dr. Dre. Like I know I'm forgetting so much. Mm. Damn. I'ma probably put shit. I'm like, yo, I'm drawing a blank right now, bro. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, definitely Alchemist, Knowledge, Dr. Dre. I would probably put, yeah, I'm definitely putting Kanye on there because it's like he's just done so much. But like, would it be crazy to say Quincy Jones?
I don't think so. I feel like
Like
definitely he's definitely
Quincy,
got the catalog for that shit for sure.
he's definitely like even if we going past like top 10, like a lot of like R&B producers like Dark Child, like I would have to put Dark Child on there. Like it's just, oh man, it's just so many. You know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, I guess yeah, those five would definitely be it. Alchemist, Knowledge, Dr. Dre, fucking, I forgot who I said.
Kanye and then
Yeah,
Quincy Jones.
Kanye, Quincy, yeah.
Out of those five, who would you say would be like the most influential to you?
Most influential to me would probably be Kanye. Definitely be Kanye because I was just listening to him the most, and it would be like, it would be shit that I wouldn't know would resonate with me like so much now because I was listening to like College Dropout, Late Registration when I was like 6. So it was like I was like listening to it and like, yo, this sounds good, and I'm hearing what he's saying and he's flowing good, but I didn't really understand what the hell he was talking about.
Word.
And like, you know, going back and listening to it now, I'm like, yo, this nigga was really talking, and that's just him rapping. But the beats, like, you listen to the beats and everything, like the production of like the work, especially in College Dropout, is like the production of it. He's like he's putting you into this world. You know what I'm saying? Like from the skits to everything, like everything coincides. And he really made me think about like the production of like a record. You know what I'm saying? Like having everything like coexist and being lit in their own rights. But like when you put them together, it makes a body of work that like all pushes this one motif. And it's like, yo, this shit is cohesive. This shit works. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like Kanye did that very well, especially like from College Dropout to Graduation, and then my, you know, Dark Twisted Fantasy and then all those. But those three, like, especially growing up, I was like, yo, this guy, like, that's what I was really thinking. And that, like, yeah, he was definitely the most influential for me.
Word, because it's like it's so much going on, but it's so intricate and detailed in every single aspect of it. So it's a lot to take in, and it's something you can grow up with, like you said. Like at first you're liking it for the sound, but as you get older, you understand the content behind it, and you grow like your own appreciation for it.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. And then it's like, what could I say? It also reminds me of your sound as well. I could see the influence in it because like I said, you also very intricate with every detail in your production and in your rapping and your music. So I feel like you definitely grasp that from like the producers you look up to and are able to implement that into your own music.
Hell yeah, bro. And I appreciate that, bro. Because, like, that's what, honestly, I feel like that's the end goal for my shit. Is like, you can see where I pull from, but you also can appreciate, like, what I bring to it as well. It's like, I want those, like, my inspiration and my individuality, I want those to coexist, but also, like, be able to gel well together. And I feel like Kanye's definitely, like, shown me a lot of that. Because, oh, my God, I'm bugging in my top 5. I didn't even say Dilla. I'm tweaking. Yo, Dilla above, like, everybody that I just said. I'm bugging out. And Madlib. Okay, let me do my top 5.
Okay.
Let me
Okay,
do
go
my top
ahead.
5 over. Okay, look, Dilla, Dre. Nah, actually, Dilla, Madlib, Dre, Alchemist, Knowledge. That's my top 5. Cause Jesus Christ, I was just,
Drew Blank.
yeah, Drew was crazy blank.
Word, but I like the fact that you mentioned those two new names. So what would you say? What could you say about the influence that those guys had on you?
Bro, like Dilla has influenced me so much that it's like, I don't know. It's like it's kind of like a subconscious thing, like a what would Dilla do in my head, bro? Because it's like I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't into him like when I was younger. Like I didn't even like catch like wind of him until like I got older and shit. And I was just a Kanye head. You know what I'm saying? But then when I learned more about Dilla, it's like, yo, this is the guy that Kanye was running behind. And Dilla was out here putting in work on his deathbed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just being that dedicated to it. And even, like, beyond that, like, his sound was just something that pushed, like, hip-hop. Not even just hip-hop, but music forward. Like, to the point where D'Angelo had Questlove trying to play the drums like how he programs them. It's different. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I feel like that carries on to my music as well because it's like Dilla and Madlib, like they both had like the feel to their music. Like you could tell that it wasn't just like, you know what I'm saying? Let me just put some drums down.
Put some buttons. It's passion behind it.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's passion. Like you could get the feel from it because like they're digging in these crates for the love of it. They're doing it. It's tedious. It's work. You're going to hear a lot of bullshit before you get that one sample. But it's like, it's worth it because it's for the love. And you might find some shit that's like fire to even like just listen to. You might not want to chop it, but you might just want to listen to it. And that shit just broadens your horizons with music and makes you want to create more. It's like I don't know, it's like it's like what academics gets out of like studying and shit, like what academic people get out of studying, like that's what like Dilla and Madlib and even Ye get out of like just crate digging and just, you know what I'm saying, like it's valid, it's tedious, but it's like it's worth it because it gives you that end result and you're like you're left with a lot of shit after it. You know what I'm saying? You're left with a lot of things. Like you might get like 2 good beats, but you got a lot of knowledge now. You know what I'm saying? And that could just carry you on like so far in your music. It's like it just it's boundless, really. There's no ceiling with that type of shit. And I'll definitely look up to Dilla and Madlib for that alone because it definitely inspired me to not stop. No matter how like tedious I think it is, or no matter how like, cause honestly like shit like that not even in my mind really. It's really just like it taught me to appreciate so much about music, like that the process is like something you could fall in love with. That's really what it is, cause it's like we trying to do this shit for a job. We trying to like this is a career. Most we could do is like, or the least we could do is have fun with it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And that shit, like they, like you could hear it. Like you could hear when they're having fun with their shit. Like they don't give a fuck. They're making it because they love it, and that shit has definitely driven me, like in my creation too.
For sure, it sounds like you recognize the fact that they have a passion for the work, not even just the what they get from it, but just the journey itself. And like, I feel like we've been very lucky in our era to like see a lot of guys like that. Because I feel like for me, like Kobe was like seeing Kobe the way he worked and how he was obsessed with just practicing and working is kind of like the same sentiment. I feel like that generation set that standard for us, and like people like us, we could recognize the work ethic behind it.
Hell yeah.
So like, would you say you try your like you definitely try to instill that in yourself as well with that passion, as far as like making the passion to finding like going through crates and finding the sounds that work best for you?
Yeah, I would definitely say I implement that into like my workflow, or my process, because it's like to be like always on it is one thing, but to be able to always make it fresh, to come in each day, to make it fun, to make it like, you know what I'm saying, to make it a subconscious thing is like, yo, like this is something I'm doing for my enjoyment, like to find that, to fall back in love with it every single day, like that takes so much more than just doing it. Because if you're just doing it, you could get burnt out fast.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like you got to reinstill that passion in you to the point where it's like it's a subconscious thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's really what it is if you love it. Because if you love it, it's like the passion is like it's endless. You know what I'm saying? Like it's unconditional. Like no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Like it's obviously going to be times where you're taking breaks and everything like that. But you know, if you doing like if you like, you know, if you're doing it, you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? And you like you're fully in it. You're 100%. And I've definitely like that's the person like I've like definitely
Strive to be like.
yeah, strive to be. I definitely like strive to be that type of person in my music, that type of artist.
Definitely. And it's like I know exactly what you're talking about, because there'd be days, of course, where like for me, like for example, there's days where I wouldn't want to like I don't know, you just be going through a lot, but like you like even if you don't want to do it, you're gonna subconsciously do your passion. Like I'll subconsciously like work on editing or content, because it's like at the end of the day, that's what makes me happy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I feel like as an artist, it's probably the same thing where it's like you could probably go through a lot throughout your day, got a lot of things on your mind, but when like you'll just go back to making more music out of habit, like not even like thinking about it, but it's like shit, this is what I want to do in my free time.
Yeah, and it's like at the end of the day, it's a way to decompress. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Like it's an outlet. You know what I'm saying? You could get that weight, you could get that pressure off of you. You know what I'm saying, when you do it. So it's like when it's like that, I feel like that's the best condition for you to be in as an artist, because it's like this is like my opportunity to de-stress, and it's my career. That's like the best of both worlds, bro, because it gives you peace, but it also like sustains you. You're able to maintain, like, you know what I'm saying, you maintain life. You know what I mean? So it's definitely the best of both worlds.
To get into your personal catalog, your track "New Vibes" is one of my personal favorites. What were you going for in that song?
Alright, well, first off, appreciate that, bro, because, like, yo, bro, like, that song's, like, really personal to me. It was basically, like, a letter to my godmother that passed about, I feel like she passed around a year before, like, I made that track, maybe 2 years. But it was just, like, I remember I was listening to Kanye's Life of the Party, and I was listening to Andre 3000's first. And it really, like, resonated with me because, you know, his mom just passed. And he's telling Kanye's mom that passed, like, to send on a message to his mother. And I felt like that was, like, so... It resonated with me different because it was, like, I was drawing parallels to like what he was saying to his mom and what I would say to my godmother if I had the chance. So it inspired me to write that, and I just let it all out. You know what I'm saying? Cause like personally, I don't really like classify myself as like an emotional type of guy. I don't really like I can't really get it off in any other way than like in the studio because it's like that's just how I am. You know what I'm saying?
That's your
Like
comfort zone.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. And I'm like conditioned to be that way. So it was definitely me like taking a chance with vulnerability and like thinking back like saying like you know what I'm saying I'm older like way older from when you know how old I was when she passed. So like I've seen a fair share of shit like you know what I'm saying at this point, and I feel like I used to confide in her a lot when I was younger, and it's like now was like a time, or then was like a time where I like felt like I needed her. So I was like just saying what I guess I would want her to hear and shit, and that yeah, that's basically what I was going for, and you know I feel like I did a pretty good job with
Definitely
that.
did a great job. So you use music as an outlet to express your feelings. 'Cause you did say like you're not an emotional person. Like you're not the best with expressing it. So you go into the studio and allow yourself to be vulnerable and comfortable in there.
Yeah, you gotta let yourself do that in the studio because it's like it especially for me, I'm not gonna do it anywhere else. You know what I'm saying? And with music, you're supposed to put your cards on the table. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to like be who you know what I'm saying. Be who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like this is me. This is what I'm going through. These are my fears. These are my passions. This is what I want. This is what I'm afraid of. It's like I feel like that's really the point. I feel like that was like when I made that song, I realized that that was what I was supposed to do with my music. Like just whatever I was feeling, like express that, and don't be afraid to express that because it's like if you keep it in, you're fucked. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want to end up messed up and shit because you didn't like just let it out. It's easy. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's not that easy. I'm not gonna sit here and like be like, oh, it's easy to do because it's not. You putting your feelings on display for the fucking world, but like everyone's that's listening to it is a person. You know what I'm saying? And everybody go through their own shit. And if people are able to draw parallels from my shit and that gives them like some type of solace, then it's like I feel like I did good enough.
You recently dropped a beat tape with all flips. What made you want to try that?
Honestly, I've been making flips since I've been producing, and I've like gotten better with it over time, and I've definitely like piled up. Like I was stockpiling a lot of flips from like 2020, you know, and on. So I was like, you know what? Let me make this like the first installment of something where I just let go of the shit, cause you know that's why I called it catharsis, cause it was cathartic for me. I had all this shit just in my laptop storage, and it's like, well, I'm not gonna put it on no Spotify, no DSPs, because I ain't really trying to get sued. Maybe I will one day because I really don't care about getting sued. But it's like right now I'm really not trying to get sued. So let me just put it on SoundCloud, and it was stuff that like I was sitting with since damn near graduated high school, like just then. You know what I'm saying? And it was like that's when I was really like doing like a whole bunch of flips. Like I was flipping like from Future to Emery. Like it was just a whole bunch of shit. So let me like compile about I don't even remember how many they were, but it was a good amount and like you know just put it out there. And I'm gonna do more of those because it's I don't know, it's just for the sake of doing it, and I don't want the shit to be out because it's like I don't know, I feel like it don't do no good just collecting dust and shit, and it's like somebody gonna fuck with it.
Facts. Might as well give it out to the world and let someone appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah, because it's like why not?
Gotcha. And you dropped another beat tape in July last year. What was the process behind creating Don't Fry Me?
Truthfully, Don't Fry Me was just a whole bunch of beats that I picked out from different places here and there that I made them, and I was like, let me see what what's similar between all these beats, because it was like a good like 15 at one point, but then I condensed it, and I was really just going for like what sounded I don't know, like I wanted some shit that was groovy. I wanted some shit with like a type of groove that like drove like the beat, but I also wanted it to be like pretty. Like I wanted a lot of my beats to be pretty on Don't Fry Me, and I feel like I achieved that pretty well because You know what I'm saying? Like with my other tapes, it was really just a bunch of stuff. But with Don't Fry Me, it was like this is like cohesively like I said like so many times, but the sound was just it was a certain sound that I was going for, and it was like glittery and shit. Like it was dressed up, to be honest, and I fuck with it like that because it had a certain vibe, you know what I'm saying, and that vibe was
Artistic in a sense, you would say.
yeah, but like not exclusively because I feel like everything like that I do is that, but it was more like I don't know the word for it. I'm kind of drawing a blank, but it was definitely it was grand. It was grand in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Like from the intro to the outro, like it was grand. The sound was big. It was shiny. It was like a big shiny beat tape. That's really what I wanted it to be. A big shiny beat tape. And like with the cover and everything, like it was just as a successor to what it is because like it had the same motif of like the burning building, but it was just from a different angle. So it was kind of like a bird's eye view type of thing with it. Like in terms of the sample choice, some of it felt like you were flying to me. Like I would say like tea time and the intro and like that. Like it sounds like a different type of like it's airy. It's like spacious. You know what I'm saying? And then you have like the gritty things like Say What and Doutro and Cold Wind. It's more grounded. I feel like it was like the the perfect mixture between like spacious sound and like grounded sound. Like it gave like a good deal of both.
For sure, like you mentioned, along with Don't Fire Me, you also dropped two other projects in 2022, What It Is and Well Deserved.
Mm.
How would you personally rank these three out of your favorite drop of 2022?
My favorite. I would say Don't Fry Me, What It Is, and Well Deserved. Only because with Well Deserved, I feel like I was going for something like it was more thematic than any of my beat tapes, anything that I ever put out. It was more thematic, and to that right, I fuck with it a lot because I achieved what I wanted to achieve with like like with the theme. But in terms of sound, I wasn't really pushing no barriers with it because I wasn't really trying to. I just wanted to make something that like had like the core of it, like you knew what I was like trying to do with it. Like I was trying to weave in something that I felt like I did well, and the sound wasn't as like nearly as ambitious as like What It Is or Don't Frown Me. I feel like those two tapes, like I was really like out there with it, and I was trying to like do different shit with it, and I like that for it. You know what I'm saying? Like I like that for it because Well Deserved is his own thing. Don't Fry Me and What It Is, like I see them as kind of like a 2-pack, and Well Deserved was like its own
Its
thing.
own special.
You know what I'm saying? And I fuck with it for that because like it has its own sense of like originality and shit. Like whereas What It Is and Don't Fry Me are like I feel like they're like kind of two sides of the same coin, crazy sides. But they're like kind of similar in a way because like I wasn't really going for anything. Like I was more like I was thinking more like thematically with my beat tapes as it went on. So like What It Is was just a whole bunch of stuff. Don't Fry Me was like, okay, I want this to like have a certain type of like allure to it, and then Well Deserved was like, okay, we just going for something here. You know what I'm saying? And the sound like coincides with how much I was focused on the theme, which I could say that I'm glad that I could see that and I could recognize that in my work because it's like now I know like if I want to do something like I know how to go about it. You know what I'm saying? In terms of do I want it to be like more ambitious sound wise or do I want it to be like a central point to this thing? You know what I'm saying? And eventually I'm gonna figure out a way that I could do both crazy. And I feel like this is all just good practice.
How has working with the artists you met here at the Rock Nation program been like?
Honestly, it's been great because it's like the sense of community like we was talking about. Like it kind of reinstilled that, and the only difference is like we're all like around the same age and we all do the same thing. We're all interested in the same thing, and that makes it so much better because it's like I could talk to motherfuckers about music. I couldn't really do that back home. I couldn't really do that in high school, middle school. I wasn't like talking to motherfuckers about music. I was just talking to motherfuckers about stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
this is like it's conversations, it's interactions and all that driven by passion, but at the same time we all like we're growing up. You know what I'm saying? We're coming into our own and shit. And that brings another like it brings another thing into it where it's like we're all coming into our own and we're developing our senses of individuality, and we're seeing how that shapes us as people and as artists. So it's definitely an experience to where like it makes the collaboration so much better because we're all evolving as artists and shit. And even if niggas is not working together, like seeing people from last year come out with some crazy shit this year, it's like, yo, bro, it just gives like a sense of, it's just such a sense of like pride and like happiness. Like, yo, bro, like, oh man, motherfuckers
Just
is
seeing
doing
everyone
their thing.
develop and grow together.
Hell yeah, cause it's like people are doing a thing here. You know what I'm saying? Especially like under the conditions, like you know what I'm saying that we in, we're making the most out of it. You know what I'm saying? And that's a beautiful thing to me.
Facts. What are some of your favorite collabs with artists that you made with here so far?
Shit, I would say some of my favorite collabs. Me and Ethan have like this beat tape that we working on, and this was like all like spontaneous shit that we've like just like seen each other off the strength and like, I bet let's go cook up, you know, shit like that. I fuck with that. Me and Fari had some shit from last year that I had produced and shit. I'm still waiting on that shit to drop, but I know it's gonna be crazy when it drop because he was definitely like challenging me to go into a different type of bag, and I fuck with him for that because he was like one of the first heads that like actually like recognized like my shit, you know what I'm saying, at this school. Brando too, but me and him having like worked like on a lot of shit. Me and him and Ty Phenomon got some shit like on SoundCloud. Me and Phenomon like actually had some fucking, oh man, we have this one joint where me and him were both rapping on it, and but he took his verse off for the SoundCloud version, but his verse is fucking crazy. And it was the Fon Chris J interlude on SoundCloud. That shit is like one of my favorite joints in terms of like collaborating, like even in general, like one of my favorite verses I ever wrote, and like one of the best beats I feel like I've ever rapped on that shit. And shit, other than that, I remember we had this one track where it was like a whole lot of us that like got on it at Ethan's room. We was like rapping on this one beat that I made. It was like some Neptunes type joint. I have no idea where that's at, but wherever it is, Ethan, if you're watching this, put it out or something, man. I don't know. I feel like that was a pretty good joint. But yeah, other than that, like it's really a lot. It's really too many to count because it's like I be here all the time. Like last year I was just in the studios, and this year it's like the same thing, but like I'm more outside, like working and shit. But all in all, like whenever I have the opportunity to work with somebody, I do it. And whether it comes out like as a beat or a full-fledged song or even just an idea, like I always appreciate it because it doesn't only like show me that like it doesn't only show me that motherfuckers like fuck with me as an artist, but it also shows like how like well I could work with artists. And it's like I used to feel like I wasn't able to do that. Like I used to feel like I was one of the types where I was just gonna like always work on my shit, and it's like, you know what I'm saying, like just straight pessimistic energy. But when you really get in the room with people and you get to know them and shit, it's like opening up a whole nother world. You know what I mean? Like it makes you want to work. It makes you willing to like take criticism and like listen to ideas and shit and be able to work with things. And it's like it's definitely helped me grow as an artist.
For someone who has not tapped in with your music yet, what are the first 3 songs they should listen to?
Ooh shit. I would say New Vibes definitely. Um. So Lonely on SoundCloud. That was a flip I did. I really like that flip. And I would say Like That on Don't Fry Me. That's one of my favorite joints. And like an extra 404 on Cupid on Well Deserved. I really fuck with that joint. And I feel like you would too.
Do you have any music releasing soon?
Yes, actually. I'm working on a house tape, I'm working on a couple of beat tapes, flip tapes, and all that, and I'm working on this rap project, and I feel like I'm gonna make it, like the concept of it is gonna be like Fon Chris J, like my Instagram name, and it's probably gonna play into like how elusive like I am, I guess, because I really don't like to classify myself as elusive, but like, you know, anybody on campus tells us like, oh nah, this nigga a ghost, he don't be here, and it's like, nigga, I don't even live here, you know what I'm saying? But you know, I try and like, I don't know. It's something that I could play into, and it's like it could be satirical, but at the same time it could also be very like in depth, and it could go into some personal shit. So it's like it really depends on like how I play it, and I might honestly like interweave both of those perspectives and try and like do something really cool with it. I'm working on it. You know what I'm saying? I'm really excited about it. So yeah, that shit is coming soon.
Who are some artists you want to work with in the future?
Hmm. I would say Madlib, definitely. K Tronada. Um. Oh man, like a lot of people. I would really love to work with. It's this one singer. I'm drawing a blank. I would love to work with Flying Lotus though. That's another producer. I would love to work with Knowledge, of course. I would love to work with Corey Henry, Thundercat, Anderson Paak, like a whole bunch of heads. Like Kendrick, obviously. I would love to work with Future. See what I do with him. Thug, if he ever get out. I don't know. But like honestly, I just want to work with as many people as I can. You know, just try and like get as much like out of collaboration as I can. You know, as long as I'm an artist.
Lastly, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Shit. Hopefully on a tour of some sort. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe on a tour, maybe like an album in, maybe 2 albums in. I don't know. It just depends on, you know what I'm saying, how life goes and everything. But in terms of like just in general, like better. Just I see myself like just doing better. You know what I'm saying? Doing better, doing more, being more efficient, being more sound of things like you know what I'm saying, emotionally, mentally, and everything. Like just being more, just being more. You know what I mean?
All right, y'all. That's all we got for today. Chris, appreciate you for popping out to the show, man. Appreciate you for being a guest on this.
Hell yeah, bro. Of course, bro. Mad love for the shit you do, man. I'm glad. I'm thankful that you have me here.
For sure. All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all for tuning in once again. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and I'm gonna catch y'all later. You feel me? We out of here.